One of the coolest things that I have really started to like lean into, but also is like really scary at the same time, is honing in on my ability to read energy. And it's not just the energy of a person in front of me, it's literally the energy of the day. And I think lately it's even been the energy of like the next like 3 to 4 days. And I guess some people call that psychic. You tell me. So here's the story. I woke up to get ready for the day job, and something told me I was going to see my kids that day. Now, I don't usually see my kids that day because they're with dad, and I had a work event that night, and I just kept feeling like I was going to see my kids. Um, and I was doing the event, and again, I had this like feeling that I was going to see my kids. So here's the really interesting thing. Earlier in the day, I called their dad and I was like, hey, I have this thing going on. Just want to let you know from this time to this time, I'm not going to be available. So if you call, then you know why I'm not calling you back. And his response was so cheeky. And he was like, why are you telling me that? And I was like, I don't know. I'm like, I thought I'd let you know. And he's like, well, I don't need anything from you. Like, it's going to be fine. And he was a little bit sassy. Like, let's just be honest. And I was like, okay, sounds good. Just let it go. Not my thing. And then I'm working the event, so busy. And I'm handling front of house, if you will. And then I kept feeling like I needed to check my phone. And I didn't check it yet, but like I mentioned earlier at the event, I like literally felt like my kids were there. Like I felt their energy was like present in the room, like they were going to be there. It was just so weird. And then I finally had a lull and I was able to check my phone, and there was a message from dad, and Mateo had broken a window. And if you've watched my other videos, Mateo, he's one of my twins. So they're 6, and Teo has level 3 severe autism, and he's nonverbal. And dad, they're in an older house, so very thin windows. If you guys know anything about older houses, um, from of course I read the text message. That's all I see. I freak out, run outside, call dad, and somehow Mateo had not even a scratch on him. Punched through a window and no scratches, no cuts, nothing. Call that a miracle. And the thing is that dad was saying he was melting down so bad. And I was like, look, just stop here. I'll give you the key to my apartment. You guys can stay there until I'm done. And then, because dad obviously had to clean up glass, but because of what was going on with Mateo, he couldn't do it all at once. So so dad comes to the event to get my key, and something just told me, like, take some cheesecake to Asheen. That's my other son. So he takes some cheesecake, and Mateo sees it and he gets really interested. And I was like, whoa, like popped out of his meltdown. And then Asheen is like, oh, look. And then he was like, oh, I need a fork. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't bring a fork. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to take them inside. It's okay. Like everything's super slow right now. And like my place of work is considered kid friendly. So I go into the event with my kiddos, and Mateo is super calm, which is not like him. And Asheen goes and he finds a fork and sits down at a table and starts eating cheesecake. And I look at him and I just was just so smitten to see my child sitting there and just smiling, like not a care in the world after everything that happened with his brother having meltdowns and a broken window and all of this. He's just so happy. And that moment was the energy that I had been feeling since like I sat down and like could sense that my kids were going to be there. And Mateo was just like so calm. He didn't even make a noise, which is not even like him. He makes noises all the time. And he like walked around a little bit, and then I was like, okay, I think we're ready to go. And then I like walked him back out to the car, and long story short, everything's okay now. But it was like Mateo had needed me that day. And I somehow regrounded him or recentered him. I don't know if maybe he was telling me that day in his energy that he was going to be there, that him and Ashim were going to be there, but it's wild how you can feel those things. And it's not even that, like, once you do your, once you get into manifestation and mindset work, that suddenly that means you're intuiting these things happen. Like, the truth is that we are all born with these abilities, right? And sometimes we might take a little bit longer to uncover them than others, and others may already just be that in tune. So, I might be talking to someone right now who is like, oh yeah, that happens to me all the time, right? Like I said, you don't have to necessarily do mindset manifestation work to have access to this, but it definitely helps. And there were some other things that happened that day, some synchronicities, some wild things that I had woken up and was sensing, but unfortunately I can't talk about those ones, just to protect the privacy of other people. But I did want to at least share that one because I thought that was really cool, that I could just sense that that was going to happen. And it was almost like I was mentally prepared for that. And just crazy how it happened when there was like the slowest time, and it was literally, great. Like, I could leave the table and, my employee was able to keep everything running smoothly without even any issues, just because flow was down. So that was just kind of beautiful to be a part of and to witness. I like sharing these kind of stories with you guys because I think that, again, mindset manifestation work can feel daunting. It can be like, intimidating, and think like, it might make you think, what's the point of me trying to, work through this all? Like, what is the reward? It's the journey. That can sound cliche, but honestly, I think it's a journey. I think it is about living in those moments and seeing things unfold and being like, this is really cool. This is what I signed up for. I, yes, came to Earth with some end goals in mind and things that I wanted to achieve, but at the same time, like, when we drop into the present and we're just in it and like allowing, it changes everything, because then we're not thinking 3 days ahead and all of the stress like looming over us and dictating the here and now. Something that's in 3 days dictating your here and now. Like, that doesn't feel good, right? So like, when you're able to, as I say, stop and smell the roses and ask yourself, like, am I being who I want to be today? Am I being who I want to be today? Like, ask yourself that. If you feel like you are being who you were yesterday because of an event or an instance or situation that happened yesterday, then instead of allowing yesterday to consume your here and now, ask yourself, am I being who I want to be today?